for joining. My name is Alejandro J. Baca. I'm with Corent Technology. Today we're going to be talking about Azure Marketplace. Let me see here. I do want to make sure that everybody can see us. If you're able to see us on the webinar, please go ahead and raise your hand or just type in a mention in the chat box. That would be great. Excellent. So today we have Tracie Zenti from Microsoft presenting about selling on Azure Marketplace. I'll be talking about Corent's product called Marketizer, and Martijn van Zoeren from CFAX, CEO and chairman of CFAX, will be giving a case study both about listing his product on Marketplace as well as using Marketizer. I'm also going to put out a poll real quick that has to do with the familiarity with Cloud Marketplace. So what we want to find out here, we're going to try and tailor this a little bit to the audience here. How familiar are you with Cloud Marketplaces? Are you brand new, looking for an intro? Trying to understand a little bit more about the revenue opportunities presented to you by Cloud Marketplaces? Are you an advanced user that's actually transacted on the marketplace, but probably in the buyer's capacity? Or have you listed at least one product before? All right, so I'm just going to leave that poll on the screen for a second here. All right, and let the numbers come in. Excellent, excellent. Let me go ahead and see here. And we still have numbers coming in. All right. Excellent, thank you so much for that. So with no further ado, I'm going to go ahead and close that out. So Tracie, are you able to see the responses?
Yes, I am. So 31% are brand new, 23% have made purchases but haven't listed, and 46% have at least one product. So thanks everybody for doing that poll. That's helpful. So we'll start at the beginning since we have a third of you that are brand new. So I'm Tracie Zenti. I'm Director of Business Programs and Category Management for the Azure Marketplace. And I'm here to talk to you about how that works as a publisher a little. We'll do a quick flyby, and then we'll have Martijn talk about it, and we'll also have the Corent folks talk about it. So feel free to put some questions in the chat. We're here to answer those, and without further delay, I'll get started. All right. Okay. So marketplaces are an interesting change in that sort of consumerization of IT paradigm that most of us who work in enterprise IT or even small medium corporation have been living in for about 12 years. I've worked at Intel for 17 years. We've been talking about consumerization of IT in the IT department there since around 2004, so a really long time. And I see marketplaces as the tail end of that, of being able to purchase apps in the same way that you purchase apps on your phone or on a tablet. And indeed, Forrester and other analysts are agreeing that this is a new paradigm for buying. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's a no-touch buying process. We still support and enable and help the handheld buying motion, but it does mean that you're essentially buying gold images that just work and deploy quickly and easily. We expect this to continue to grow at a really fast pace. This says 8.8% increase in conversion rates and weekly growth. I actually would say that COVID is accelerating that, and I'm sure many of you feel that that we're all working from home, and that the need to have different sales motions and different channels has just skyrocketed in the last 5 or 6 months. The commercial marketplace really is an always-on app store. We have one catalog, and we have, whoops, I went too far, excuse me. We have one catalog that is just 7,000 plus applications in the marketplace. We kind of refer generically to it as the marketplace, but it is also two views of that marketplace. One is the app source, the other is Azure Marketplace. And really what you see as app source is more of like Microsoft 365, things that really appeal more to small, medium business. Maybe you have a 5 location real estate office, and you need an email marketing tool, or you need something to run your business and do your books, those sorts of things. So Microsoft AppSource is a place that can take credit cards and has productivity applications and so forth. Azure Marketplace is really more for the enterprise IT buyer. So it's categories like networking, storage, databases, security, etc. So it's more of things that serve both long-term procurement-led buying and line of business project buying. That's kind of our 2 storefronts. 1 catalog, 2 storefronts. With this marketplace, you're able to reach up to 4+ million monthly active users, selling in 140,000 global geographies and engaging with 100,000+ high potential leads generated each month. So it really is, we're bringing our customers and visibility of our brand to bear to help bring visibility to your brand and to sell more like one company for the customer. We, in the past, prior to the Azure Marketplace, if you wanted to purchase, say, a database and an analytics engine and run it on the cloud, you'd have to go to each of the software providers and purchase a license. And then you would have to go to the cloud and purchase your cloud. And then you'd have to get an architect or someone very technical to put those together. This is really click to deploy and purchase. So you can be up in minutes now instead of weeks or possibly months, depending on the complexity of the solution. So it really meets that pace of innovation that the enterprise needs to stay competitive. You're also able to reach 90,000 cloud solution partners. These are cloud solution provider partners. These are folks like resellers and MSPs and VARs, like say CDW as an example, that are purchasing other solutions from Microsoft on behalf of their customer, and then utilizing purchasing off the marketplace to get these solutions for their customers. And that's something where we provide a benefit to the seller on your behalf as well. So it's a really great program, and it really unlocks the channel for you. Again, reducing costs and time to market. This is a way to accelerate app innovation. Let's say you've got something new, you want to get out there, you want to get people to have eyes on it. Growing revenue with this new channel and this new set of folks looking to buy in this new way. And we offer the flexibility to do custom pricing and flexible pricing for your customers through private offers. So it isn't just set it and forget it pricing. If you want to do a price that is custom to a customer you've had for many years, of course, or just recent, but you want to acquire that customer, you can do that. Here are a couple of success stories. You can go out to the marketplace and the AppSource and take a look. There's lots and lots of sellers out there. We refer to ISVs as sellers. Contract Zen said Microsoft commerce-enabled marketplaces gave them global scale and awareness to distribute. I hear that time and time again. I've got partners that have never really sold outside of the United States, utilizing our platform to do that. Again, accessing those 70,000 resellers, you can see that helped them really increase their sales force. NetApp said that publishing was a decision made by NetApp to support its strategy to provide customers with all the value the cloud has to offer. And since publishing on the Azure Marketplace, they've seen double-digit revenue growth combined with happier and more engaged customers. I definitely agree with the NetApp's characterization here. It's it's a simple, put very simply, it's a simple way to buy and deploy. Here are a few categories just to give you an idea. We don't just cover the horizontal categories like AI, analytics, and data. We also cover industries like financial services, healthcare, insurance. You'll find several of these industries are actually on the AppSource. And you'll notice under migration, I have Corent and CFAX. You really can't migrate if you don't have control and visibility and optimization of costs and so forth. If you don't have that, then you're going to have a difficult time keeping track. So CFAX is a wonderful partner there, and we love having them on the marketplace. And Corent is helping you migrate your apps to the cloud. Fundamentally, if you're on the marketplace, you're running in the cloud. So we're really happy to have both of them there. The simple thing on this slide is that the more you do, the more help you get. Marketplace rewards is effort in equals help out. And as you do more and more, you get more and more. So the real value starts to begin here at the BYOL and Transact. And as you begin listing in the marketplace, we have a dedicated person that meets with you and works with you on what these benefits are. But it's things like press release support, featured placement, test drives, optimization of your listing, and special programs like webinars. Also, as far as fees go, you don't pay any fee to get in. You simply pay a transactional fee that's somewhere between 10 and 20% once you start selling. So you only pay when you sell. Let's see. Oh, big news, the Mac Azure benefit retirement. So when you are listed in the marketplace and you are co-sell ready, you get a 10% listing fee. We pay an incentive to those 70,000 resellers of 10% on your behalf if it's sold by a reseller. And the big news is that customers can retire their quota. So they've always been able to retire 100% of the Azure, and now we're bringing in the license fee as well. So that's a really big deal for our customers, and they're really excited. We actually launched that at Inspire. And then just a little bit about Corent, and then I'll pass the baton back. Corent has been helping ISVs list on Azure Marketplace now for just a few short months. And in those months, they've done about 20 plus automated marketplace listings. I mean, that's a pretty insane ramp, I have to say. And they've got very happy customers, as you'll hear from Martin and CFAX. So if you're trying to build your business on Azure Marketplace and you want to support broad use cases, or you want to list apps that you've got running maybe on other clouds, or you've just been wanting to list on the marketplace and you've been running in Azure, they're here to help. They're also here to help you modernize if you've never done any of that. If you're just now learning about it, as several of you, 29% said you're brand new. This is a great way to go about it. And so if you want to learn more, you can click on these slides that we sent to you. You can click here and visit Partner Center to start publishing and build your Partner Center list information. Of course, as we said, Corent is a great way to get help with this. And then there's a couple of case studies in here from the NetApp and Contracts In. I will pass that back to Alex and I think Corent. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you so much, Tracie. Are you able to hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, I just want to make sure we're smoothing out any potential technical difficulties. Last thing I need is to be sitting here talking with nobody hearing me. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and launch another poll here to help me kind of calibrate a little bit about my part of the presentation here. What I want to know, and this one you can check more than once, is what is your primary business function within your company? And really what I'm looking to find out here is, how technical should I get? Or should I be focusing more on talking about, keeping things at a higher level revenue, things about business development, that sort of thing. Tells me the poll is in progress, and hopefully everybody's able to see that right now. All right, let's see if we have responses coming in just yet. Excellent, excellent. And all right, I'll give that just a second here. I'll make sure my presentation is ready to go. Excellent. All right, so I'm going to give this a couple more seconds here while we collect some responses. So what we're seeing is about 50% are in engineering, product, DevOps, or information technology. We've got about a quarter in sales, marketing, growth, and about 30% in executive management or business development. And of course, for small organizations in particular, it would be quite natural for there to be overlap, which is why I tried to make this poll not simply, well, you can choose more than one. I don't know what the terminology is. All right. Cool, I'm gonna go ahead and close this poll out. All right, hopefully everybody's able to see me and my slides. All right, I look like a newscaster here.
We can see you.
Excellent, all right, great, thank you so much. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk a little bit about Corent and a little bit about myself as well. So let me start with an introduction here. So I'll tell you about myself first. So by training, so I'm a product evangelist with Corent Technology, and my explicit focus is on the Marketizer product. I joined Corent at the beginning of the summer. I was introduced to Corent a few years ago, but my background is as a software engineer. I started out on Wall Street. I worked at a number of hedge funds. I worked my way up, eventually become a CTO, where I oversaw both software development as well as infrastructure from the vantage point of an enterprise. Around 2015, I actually discovered that I had cancer, and I decided to take my life on a completely different path. They got the cancer taken care of, but I wanted to work more with startups, and that was really what my dream had been for quite some time. Having a brush with death can really put you in a headspace where you want to take your life on a different journey entirely. So I continued to freelance. I started my own software company, and I worked with hedge funds, and then led me into private equity, which led me to venture capital, which eventually led me into startups. It's interesting, once you start working as something of an outsider with clients, you're asked to do all kinds of interesting things. So I've interviewed CTOs for companies. I've participated in investigations. I've been asked to do external research. I've even negotiated with foreign banks speaking Spanish, because I'm a Spanish speaker. So in a way, leaving the sort of day-to-day in the hedge fund space allowed me to diversify my skill set, which was actually very interesting. And I was introduced to Corent around 2018, and Corent reached out to me right, I guess, a couple months into the COVID era, and said, hey, we're traditionally a key account sales organization, so we're very high touch and we take really good care of our clients, but we want to take this new product in to market, and we want some help doing that. So I said, sure, I could certainly do that. I've worked with a number of software vendors that have done that sort of thing. So at this point, I am now a full-time member of the Corent family, bringing Marketizer to market, which has been a lot of fun. And the way I like to talk about Corent is I like to tell a little story about Corent's background. So the bedrock of all Corent technology is a platform called Surpass. Surpass is a big automation layer that sits on top of the cloud. It is a cloud agnostic layer that provides a number of capabilities. And so Corent, which was founded in 2006, I believe, started out focusing on SaaS enablement, where they take existing applications and they provide the SaaS layer. So that's the metering, the billing, the multi-tenancy, that sort of thing. And obviously that accelerated quite a bit with cloud. One of the key capabilities within the SaaS enablement is the ability to scan an existing workload and create a blueprint of it. Well, very quickly, a number of other customers or prospects in other industries noticed that that was a very useful capability, and so they moved into the cloud migration space, because they're able to create a blueprint of on-premise topologies for an application workload, and they're able then to get that into the cloud. And so Corent works a lot with cloud migration customers. Once those customers are taken to the cloud, they're also interested in other things like workload modernization and optimization. Corent has a large list of clients that are largely systems integrators, managed service providers, and independent software vendors. They are ISO 27001 certified, which is a key security certification that we have and maintain, especially for working with systems integrators. And our CEO last year was a recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Coady Awards, which is actually a pretty cool achievement. I mean, it's remarkable, to be honest. We do provide 24/7 support for all of our products. And so what happened was, as we started, so about a year ago, as we started looking more at what was happening right now with the marketplaces in the cloud, we started to see an interesting opportunity arise. So first and foremost, Azure Marketplace is just taking off, as Tracie just described. I mean, there are thousands of software vendors now in the marketplace, and in addition to that, this is becoming a bigger and bigger revenue channel for anybody who's selling their software online. I mean, just having the ability for your customers to, at a minimum, find you if you want to do like lead gen type listings, but also be able to have transactable listings where the prospects will convert themselves into paying customers. That's just remarkable, right? And that's a real game changer. And in addition, Marketplace made waves last year when they decided to merge the catalogs between AppSource and Azure Marketplace into one, just sort of being different views over the same underlying data. We also noticed that there was a problem to be solved, and that was that integration with Azure Marketplace is an engineering project, excuse me. And the challenge there is the amount of effort that is required in order to get a listing up and running. We realized that if we wanted to take a product to market to be able to help software vendors to take advantage of the opportunity presented by the marketplace, we would have to fundamentally change the economics, right? We wanted to change the equation. And so it's not just a matter of accessing the revenues, but also reducing the cost and effort of actually getting your listing up and running and actually maintaining the operational side of once your product is live and listed and you have tenants that are paying customers on your application that have been provisioned through the marketplace. But the other thing we noticed was that this is all stuff that we can do with our existing Surpass platform. I just, with the previous slide, I explained there are a number of capabilities that we've already been able to build upon and able to do this. And I'll talk about some of the advantages of that shortly. But the key is that this is something where we could take our existing Surpass platform, which is a battle-tested platform, which is in production with lots and lots of customers, and we could extend it by hooking into Azure Marketplace to be able to facilitate and expedite the journey for a software vendor to take their product into the marketplace. And so that's what we did. And so the product we built is Marketizer, right? The way we wanted to approach this was to eliminate all of the friction in the listing process and not require any code changes in the core application itself. And so we built an application that creates transactable SaaS-type listings in the Azure Marketplace and basically requires information gathering or data gathering as part of the actual supported workflow. And so the first thing you have to do is define your offer details, which this is usually something that's done with sales, executive management, or business development, which is where you set up your pricing plans and your billing parameters. What are the what are we billing as a function of, right? How are we doing? What are we metering, right? The next part, which usually involves their marketing team, is to add listing content. It should be your product description, how-to videos, and those sort of things. Those are the things that are actually going to appear on your listing page itself. And then the third step is a little bit of app configuration, right? The key here is that there are no code changes required, but you do need to enter some details and choose an integration method. So if we want to peer underneath the hood, just to understand a little bit, since we've got about 53% of our attendees that are in engineering, so we want to understand a little bit about how it works. I'll just very briefly touch on those things. The first thing to understand is that your application doesn't talk directly to Azure Marketplace, but Marketizer, which rests upon the entire Surpass platform, is a proxy for that integration, right? So when someone comes in provisions, they're going to be interacting with Marketizer, which will then be taking care of sending some kinds of signals to your application and then collecting signals from your application to send back to Azure Marketplace for the purpose of billing. There are a couple of models that we support for provisioning. So if you have an existing provisioning mechanism, so that is to say your application is already a multi-tenant application, then Marketizer's job is to interact with your lifecycle API, that is to say create a tenant, also destroy a tenant. Hopefully we would be doing more tenant creating than destroying. But at the end of the day, this is one of the types of integrations we can do. So we can hook into your existing provisioning capability. Another option is that we have a form of custom provisioning. And in that case, we would take a blueprint of your application, and Marketizer, when a customer activates and onboards with your application through the marketplace, we would actually create instances of your application running inside of your Azure Cloud account. So we have a couple of different models that we can support. All of this is built on the capabilities that have been in Surpass for years. And so this was this integration is a new feature in an existing platform. I'll speak very briefly about what we see as the key advantages to using Marketizer. So the first one is the obvious one, which is that it slashes the time to marketplace. The idea here is that in the absence of having an engineering project, it becomes a data gathering project. And we provide support and guidance all the way through the journey in order to make sure that we are able to get your listing up and running as quickly as possible. The listings themselves are fully transactable. So these are SaaS type listings, right? These are the types of listings where the customer goes to Azure Marketplace, or I would say the prospect would go to Azure Marketplace, and they would provision a new tenant by simply activating and convert themselves into a paying customer. One of the key capabilities that we really wanted to emphasize with this is that regardless of the type of integration that we do with your application, there are no code changes required to your application. And what's nice about that is you can keep your engineers focused on product development. And this is what we see as one of the key advantages to our product. We also have a great deal of operations tooling. So the listing itself is not the end of the journey. We've been SaaS enabling products for quite some time at this juncture. And so we have a number of tools that are offered out of the box for keeping tabs on the health of your application deployments in your cloud account, as well as being able to track and project your cloud spend, which is a very useful metric when you want to look at what the underlying infrastructure costs are as well. And then finally, we are happy to enable other capabilities within the Surpass platform. The example that I like to use is multi-cloud deployments. We've had customers that have talked to us that say they run on, on-prem, or they run their software currently on other cloud providers. We won't name who. This will be the Voldemort of cloud providers. But they're interested in Azure Marketplace, right? Because it's really been taking off. And so what we do is we work with them on getting multi-cloud deployments enabled, right? Because if we're able to create a blueprint of the application in order to create new instances in the marketplace, we're also able to do some deployments of these types of SaaS workloads in other clouds as well. That is, I believe, everything that I have to say about Marketizer. Right here, I believe on your screen, you should see an email address. It's marketizer@corenttech.com. If you have any further questions, or even if you want to just say hello, go ahead and send us an email. We'd be happy to hear from you, happy to go into more detail. Would love to hear about what kinds of problems we can help you to solve. And thank you so much. I will now hand it off to Martijn van Zoeren, CEO, Chairman, and Founder of CFAX.
Yeah, thank you. As far as I know, you can see my screen right now, so that's the good news. Yeah, my name is Martijn. I'm CEO at CFAX. Live in Amsterdam, so the Netherlands. Actually, just a little bit of my background. I started in 2007 having an architecture built from a data center from which we could deliver flexibility in cloud usage, in hardware, and then capacity usage. At the end, that seemed to be called cloud computing at that time. So in 2009, I started up my privately funded cloud provider, Dutch Cloud, focused on highly compliance and highly privacy environments. In 2009, the nice thing is that we were in control of all our assets and capacity, and all our invoices were very seamlessly charged to customers. In 2015, a couple of my existing customers asked me to combine our on-prem cloud services combined with public cloud services of Microsoft and AWS. And at that time, the complexity started for us. And so when I found someone that developed a tool called CFAX in the beginning, that could combine all those specific data streams of public clouds, I was very excited. So what CFEX delivers is a cloud control center for sustainable cloud services. And at the end, we deliver a flexible platform to assign all those different public cloud usage data streams. And we can assign that to specific customers and specific applications or application groups. So that's about CFEX. So a little bit more about CFEX, and I'll keep this short. So at the end, what we like to do is show your dependency of all those cloud services in relation to, of course, costs, usage, security, but also liabilities. So we are agreed, I think, together that enterprises would like to be in control of their public cloud expenses, and also would like to be able to mitigate related risks and get it on the right charts. So if you compare CFEX with competitors like Cloud Health and Cloud Checker, both multi-cloud support companies, we are more focused on business than on technology and operations. And you also see that our role will be very independent compared to a lot of other companies. So you see a small screen of our latest version at the right top. So we combine, you see that Azure data, AWS data, and Oracle data, and combine that in one screen. And we can deliver all kind of views. So you can get insights on usage, where you go, how much you will be spending, where you go off the normal roads, etc., etc. And that's, I think, the nice part, and also the combination to Corent. At the end, enterprise are looking for our solutions, but also cloud providers are looking for that. At the end, public services will look at it, and our customers, our preferred customers, have a multi-cloud approach, focus on security, want to be in control of cost, and also are aware of the impact of all those cloud consumption on our planet. So sustainability will be a big part. So at the end, I think our goal is that we give our customers a license to operate about usage of the public cloud expenses. So we started with Corent talking about a marketplace, and at the first moment we saw that there's a natural fit actually between the CFEX product and the Microsoft Azure Marketplace. And the nice thing is that it helped us streamlining the delivery of our application to especially customers that are already on the Azure Marketplace. So it gives us a very nice entrance to that community. And the nice thing was that we were already using surveys of Corent platform. And after we discussed the opportunity to go using Marketizer to offer our services, was actually a no-brainer. And so yeah, that's why we started very easily with building up. So let me check this. Yep. So what was the purpose of using Marketizer? It was a very fast deployment. Normally, it would have taken us a couple of months to understand the complexity behind. And in this case, it was all automated. And I think that 95% of all the work was done by Corent. And actually, a small role was there for CFEX. So we had 2 calls with Corent, and one to finalize and accept the environment, of course. And the total deployment was fulfilled in 2 days. So not in a couple of months, but 2 days. And as a startup, because CFEX is a startup, that was very pleasant to us. Now the integration, and I think it was also because we are already using Corent Surpass, but the integration was very seamlessly and without any issues. And now self-onboarding is pretty easy. So we do that all with no human touch. And also one of my questions was to my team, okay, how are we going to manage that? Is there work for CFAX, or is Corent doing all the stuff? And after using it now for a couple of months, we see that we don't have any maintenance on using the environment. So no issues on that area. And I think that Tracie also mentioned we have all kind of different billing types that we use, and that was supported in that environment without any effort from our side. So yeah, at the end we had been working already with Corent for a long period. So again, also from this point of view, it was of course a pleasure to work with. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done this presentation. People were patient, very helpful. Of course, there's a time zone issue, but we didn't have any issue with that between Amsterdam and the East Coast. Sorry, West Coast. And we're now rolling it out, our new version of our application, to about 20 Microsoft Azure customers all over the world. Of course, we are based with headquarters in Europe, but are also in the Dubai region, very active at the moment, have some first customers in South Africa. And of course, we have a couple of customers already in the USA. So we're rolling that out now on the marketplace. We've planned a marketing campaign for Q4. Good to know, I think, for people in the audience, that Microsoft can help you with planning that campaign. They're very helpful to do so. A lot of stuff is also automated in Marketplace, so you can use it very easily. And as Tracie mentioned as well, in the beginning that we started, we thought that the payment, the charge by Microsoft would be 20%, but it was lowered to 10%. So very nice, of course, to hear. And last but not least, as I stated, CFAX is a startup. So the Microsoft Marketplace gave us a very valuable area for our commercial image, and a very easy way to get in contact with existing Microsoft partners, Microsoft customers, but also combining different software tools from one place is, I think, and to our opinion, very valuable to our customers, so they can combine our product with other products that are available in the marketplace. So yeah, that was what I was very excited to share with you.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much, Martijn. Martijn and Tracie, are you able to hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. All right, so those of you on the call, if you want to go ahead and put your questions in the questions box, right now we'll go ahead and proceed with the Q&A portion of our webinar here. Let me see here. Excellent, we're getting some questions. Oh, wow, lots of questions. Oh boy. Sounds like there's some interest here. That's great. Let me see here. We'll give these just another second to come in. Martijn, if you want to go ahead and turn off your sharing there. All right. And let's see here. So we have a question coming in. It says, can Marketizer be used to orchestrate the creation and deployment of an app for a new customer who wants to create a dedicated SaaS instance for a new client, then manage all of the SaaS instances as new customers come on board? Let me think that one through here for a second. And let's see here. We have another question. Do you support all deployment types, SaaS virtual images solution templates? Okay, I'll start with the second question. No, we do not. We focus on SaaS listing types. That is our that's something we are good at supporting. It's the type of thing we've been doing for over 15 years. And so our product Marketizer is designed to create SaaS listing types. Yeah. As far as the other question that I was mentioning here, I'm still trying to parse this. It's a bit of a long question here. So orchestrate the creation and deployment of an app for a new customer who wants to create a dedicated SaaS instance for a new client, and manage all of the SaaS instances. Yeah, so I guess hopefully this answers your question, but generally speaking, if you if you create, depending on how you do your integration, when you create a listing, it is able to provision new tenants, and each tenant, depending on what kind of multi-tenancy model you have, each tenant could actually have a separate instance of the application. If you already have more advanced provisioning into your application, which is where maybe you do some shared tenancy, maybe you share application servers, maybe you share the database, or something along those lines across tenants, then we can hook into your existing provisioning model. Now, if you want something more advanced, let's say you don't have your own multi-tenant provisioning yet, but you also don't want to just create a new instance of the entire application workload for every single tenant, then we can work with you by looking at our SaaSification product. Our SaaSification product is designed to support more advanced, complicated topologies. That is part of Surpass. It is part of what we've done. So for example, if you have an existing single tenant application, you wanted to make it multi-tenant, but you wanted to be able to, say, use the same database across all of your tenants, that is the type of capability that we support in our SaaS product that we would be interested in, that we would explore with you as sort of a complementary offering in addition to the Marketizer product. And when I say complementary, I mean it would complement it. I don't mean that it's that it's on the house necessarily. But we would happily talk to you about that in more detail. Please feel free to send us an email to marketizer@corentech.com, and we're happy to jump on a call with you and find out more about what it is that you are thinking about taking to market. Yeah. So let's see. Other questions here. All right, if you guys have more questions, feel free to type them
Alex,
in. Yes,
the question I get a lot, I just was looking at the questions, and I think most of them are letting us know we can see and they can hear and that sort of thing. Yeah. The question I get a lot is, can we sell any software on the marketplace? And the answer is, you can sell any software on the marketplace that can run on the cloud. We don't, let me put it a different way. Some software is very complex and parts and pieces may not run in the cloud. Migration is a great example. We have several migration solutions listed. Hybrid cloud management is a great example. You know, they don't necessarily have pieces, all the pieces that run in the cloud, and even in migration, 95% of solutions run on premise because they have to aggregate what they're going to move, right? What they're going to migrate. So we say if it can run in the cloud in Azure, not any cloud, if it can run in Azure, it needs to run in Azure, which is most of the time the case with SaaS anyway, but just making sure that that we say it. It's also really important to get co-sell status, which if Corent can't help you with, you guys can certainly reach out to me, ping me on LinkedIn. I check my LinkedIn all the time. If you don't understand how to get co-sell ready, which is basically the documents and the marketing and the training for our field so that they can sell along with you to the customer. That is where the magic really happens with getting customers excited. So it's important to do both. Co-sell, be co-sell ready and be transact in the marketplace. Martin, do you have a comment on that?
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I just thought I, yeah.
Oh, I agree. No, I agree. That's my point. I agree that the marketplace is the ideal platform to combine all kind of services, and that's valuable to anyone, to my opinion. And we discussed that as well during the preparation at Tracie. But of course, besides Azure, we have AWS and Oracle and all kind of other suppliers. And combining all those products, that is what the end customer at the end wants. So you should be able to create marketplaces like Microsoft does to combine products. That's where the market is going to.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, those are great points. Just to sort of piggyback on that, I want to make sure I mention that we, with Marketizer, we don't actually require that a product be SaaS already. And what it is to be SaaS is kind of a complicated question at times, but I think at the end of the day, if you we don't necessarily require the product already to have multi-tenancy. We don't necessarily require the app to have self-provisioning or anything like that, right? We're able to take to create a workload on Azure from your existing application and then take it to Marketplace. And so we kind of try to bridge that gap, right? We don't want to make it an absolute requirement that to be a Marketizer user, that your application is already software as a service. All right. Well, oh, go ahead.
Before we end, Alex, I have another thing I like to tell folks about the Marketplace, the Azure Marketplace. In May of this year, we changed our payout policy, and it's a really big deal. It's in our documentation, but sometimes people miss it because their primary thing they're looking at is how to get listed and how to build their business. It used to be that most clouds would pay the ISV when they get paid by the customer. In an Azure Marketplace, we pay upon order for all enterprise account customers. So, which is, sorry, I have a dog in the background coughing. That means that there's about a 30-day hold and then we release payment. So you get paid faster from the Marketplace than most of you can get paid on your own paper, which is pretty crazy. So 45 days, and that's on an annual contract or any other license type. So and of course, AppSource takes credit cards, so you get paid pretty quickly with credit cards. But when it's billing to an Azure Invoice customer, you're going to get paid out right away, whether we collect or not. Now, there is always the potential that when we go to collect against the customer someday, months down the road, that we could say, hey, we never got paid. And there is a potential for clawback. That's extremely rare. Just these are enterprise customers, so we just don't see that happen. But the payout before we actually collect is huge. If before you could have a customer who got invoiced quarterly, and so you had to wait till the invoice went to the customer and then wait for their terms, which could be net 90 or net 60, right? So it would be the invoice date plus the terms for their payout. So anyway, it's big change, and we're really excited about it. Martin, did you have a comment? I kind of saw you.
No,
like
I can agree.
Okay.
Excellent.
So that's a big change, and when I talk to sellers, it's probably the number one thing they get excited about, because anytime you can get your money faster, especially in these uncertain times, it's a good thing.
Absolutely. All right, I'm just going to jump in. We have a question from Lauren. It's actually two questions, and the first thing I will say is this is a couple of things where, to really understand what some of this question is getting at, I would recommend Lauren sending us an email to marketizer@corenttech.com. But I'll go ahead and see if I can hopefully answer this to your satisfaction right now. The question is, we are an ISV on Azure. When we deploy our product, we provision resources in a single Azure tenant, our tenant, but across multiple subscriptions. Can we use your product to automate the deployment of our app through the Marketplace? And so so this is an ISV. They're running in their own Azure tenant, right? And so we think of that as their Azure account. Across multiple subscriptions, they need to provision resources, so they're going to be independently billed. And can you use Marketizer? So this is a question that I'm gonna say we have to flag for follow-up, because I think there might be some technical implications. But I will say this: if this is a necessary use case, it's the kind of thing we would be interested in hearing more about. And seeing if it would be it's something I could take to our product development team and say, if we don't support this today, then let's see what it's going to take to support this kind of thing. It may very well be the case that we already do this, and so I don't know for sure. Please send me an email so that we can follow up on that particular point. All right. And the next question is, how does the process work when it comes to connecting the provisioned application to the customer's Azure tenant? We would normally do that manually. How do we handle prerequisites? And so, if I'm understanding this correctly, I want to make sure we're clear on the types of listings that we support. We support SaaS type listings. Those are the types of listings that we enable our ISV customers to create. In those situations, there is not necessarily a technical connection that happens when a customer activates. So with the SaaS type listing, when the customer activates, to the extent that there's any resource provisioning, it's happening in the ISV's account, not on the customer's account. And so What will happen though is that any metering or anything that happens for that provision tenant on the ISV side will then result in bills that show up on the ISV's customers' Azure bill, right? And so that's the way that part works. So there are some solutions out there where you would also want to create a support listing, maybe if there's an agent that you want to run inside of the client's VNet on a VM instance or something like that, or if you wanted to do some kind of single sign-on integration where you're doing like Active Directory for single sign-on, and that would be a separate listing that would be created independently if your product is a SaaS product that supports single sign-on. And so those are some of the patterns I've seen. Those would be a separate listing. And that's how that would be created, but then it would be connected back up to the mothership, so to speak, right? Your running application inside of your cloud account. But please, I'd love to learn more. So please send me an email because I think here I'll put the email address back up here. Here we go. Back to newscaster mode. Yeah, exactly. I don't know why I turned it off, to be honest. So go ahead, Tracie.
Speak to the marketplace, we allow that multiple deployment locations. So it would be up to Corent and how their process works. But you know, a security information and event management solution is a really good example, and you can see a couple of those listed out in Marketplace. They're pretty complex. I mean, they're aggregating really the data in the cloud and looking at that from an analytics perspective. These are things that capture events for security operations centers, right? So you can see if like you've had an intrusion or things like that. And so they have to have collectors on that sit and agents essentially on-prem and colo in the server under your desk, wherever, as part of your you know, property of your sort of all the servers that you might have that you want to aggregate. So we can support that. I just am not sure, you know, like Alex said, you'll want to talk to Corent about how they support.
Absolutely.
But how we see it, just let me clarify a little further. SaaS means managed. It doesn't necessarily mean everything has to install in the ISV's tenant, right? So there can be lots of parts of complex solutions that need managed, right? It's software as a service.
Excellent.
Oh, by the way, let me speak to services for a moment and support. I get this question all the time. Can you list out services as a line item, or can you sell services on their own on Marketplace? The answer is you can't sell them on their own. You can't on Azure Marketplace. You can't yet list them out separately. So you couldn't have like a plan that said $10,000 in services associated to an offer. But to the extent that you want to build those into one price, same with support. You can say it's you know, $1,000 a month, and that includes services, support, and integration or consultation up to a certain amount. So you can include it in that one lump price, but you can't break it out. And we're not just trying to be difficult. That has tax implications, right? So it's actually something we're thinking about and working on for the future. I think frankly, all marketplaces have that because we want to accommodate our ISV's needs. But right now it's a bundled price.
Excellent. All right, well, I think that's going to conclude our webinar for today. So I'd like to express my gratitude to Martijn van Zoeren and CFAX, as well as Tracie, Zenti, and Microsoft for doing this event with us. It's been great. And please, again, send us an email if you have any questions, if you want to follow up on any of this, even if you want to get in touch with CFAX, and we're happy to pass the email along. We're good friends with Martijn, so thank you very much. Thank you, Tracie, thank you, Martijn, and everybody have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.